Under the control of Paramount Skydance and led by Barry Weiss, there's supposed to be little doubt that CBS News and 60 Minutes are being burned to the ground. And yet, a new interview by Scott Pelley of 60 Minutes fame has him being defamed and defanged. The narrative swiftly switching as the crazy anchorman declares being a journalist these days is just like being active in the military? He said what?
Newsrooms are sort of like the military or the police or the beautiful people at the FDNY down the street. It is a life-threatening job.
It's a great day. It's a groovy day. Thank you, folks, for coming our way every time you click on one of our videos. It's an attitude of gratitude from everybody here at a studio in somewhere sunny USA. The sun is not shining on Scott Pelley nor the crazy drive-by journos who thought he was going to perform a takedown of Barry Weiss after being fired by 60 Minutes. Instead, he is down to seconds left in his career as everybody says, yeah, he should have been tossed out on his derriere even sooner. We'll show you the clips, we'll show you the vids, click the like button, and let's get started. There's a 60 Minutes super scandal, and CBS is not being torn asunder, despite what Scott Pelley may want you to believe. Now, Scott Pelley is the guy who was at that commencement for the college last year and declared that journalism was under attack. The First Amendment might fall. Well, it turns out he's the only one who's falling. Dominic Mastrangelo from The Hill says Scott Pelley sparks backlash from the right with the New York Times interview on CBS 60 Minutes. And I dare say that yet again, the spin is here, because I think it sparks backlash from everybody, and you'll see why. Scott Pelley, the longtime 60 Minutes correspondent who was fired from the network last week after criticizing its new leadership, and I think actually it was the way in which he did so, is sparking scorn from conservatives over a new interview with the New York Times. During the wide-ranging interview, Pelley fought back tears as he described being fired by top bosses at CBS News, accused its corporate leadership of altering coverage to please the orange Godzilla, Mr. President Trumpo, and called for the ouster of the New York's top editor, Barry Weiss. He also said he was surprised to be fired over his criticisms. Quote, one of the reasons why trust in media is so low is because many legacy journalists are completely out of touch, wrote Brendan Carr, the FCC chairman, in one social media post. You could not get away with that behavior at any run-of-the-mill job. It is revealing to see how blind some are to that. Okay, so this is being labeled as right versus left again. Scott Pelley is out, and the only people who are mad about what he's had to say are the right. But what is it he said? Well, we go to Chief Nerd to find out. And get ready, because Pelley, after leaving 60 Minutes, is comparing himself to the military. Get ready. Here's a section of the interview.
Nick Bilton's email, and then saw him reading to my broken-hearted people off his phone. I felt that somebody had to stand up for the broadcast, not just the broadcast, but the people. There are people in that room who go to war zones when they are pregnant.
I don't believe this at all. This is terrible acting.
Oh, good Lord. The community theater level crying.
Here we go again.
There are people in that room who go to war zones when they are pregnant.
All right, I want to add something. The military doesn't send people to war zones when they're pregnant. So if you're pregnant and you went to a war zone, you're the R word that I don't think I'm allowed to say on the stream. But
well, not only that, but if you're a journalist, I don't think the military would want you there if you're pregnant. I think they would be very angry if they found out that you were sent to a war zone.
Away. Yes.
I am half expecting him to just suddenly go, I dreamed a dream one day gone by.
All right, let's play it again, though. And knowing, folks, what Carol just explained, the military would not be happy if this is the case. Like this would be them sneaking people through to do this. It's not ethical. So it shouldn't be happening. We think it probably didn't happen, or at least if it did happen, we don't understand why you would do that.
I think Scott Pelley just found out later that he was just being very hormonal. It was a false positive on his test.
Like if he's correct, and he's saying that there are people who are pregnant who are going to war zones, then they're not showing, because I guarantee you the moment that we pick up on that, it's gonna be like, no, and then also keep in mind, most of the time when journalists go overseas, right, they have a security detail.
Right.
Protection crew.
And just for clarity, Carol, you've served in the military, so you understand in a way that many do not the absurdity of some of these claims.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
All right, here we go. More of Scott Pelley.
Who go to war zones when they are pregnant.
What?
I'm glad he's expressing himself.
Newsrooms are sort of like the military or the police or...
Like how crap.
Hold on. We don't want to miss this. This is really important what he says.
Okay.
This is the stinger that I think it's not left versus right. This is everybody who hears this says, whoa, wait a minute. What? Maybe you should have been fired. Maybe you should have been fired sooner.
Newsrooms are sort of like the military or the police or the beautiful people at the FDNY down the street. It is a life-threatening job in many instances.
Many?
And very strong bonds, very emotional bonds are found or are developed in that kind of setting.
Carol, as someone who served in the military?
I'm not going to discredit that journalists go into war zones and put themselves in danger. I'm not going to do that. We would ask that you stop, right? But that does happen. We do actually. The military does have its own journalist branch that they work with, and they even have a small group called Combat Camera that literally goes and gets a lot of this documentation. And it's, I'll be honest, most journalists, when they show up to this stuff, they're in the way. I'll share a story from my father who served, where at one point they saw a journalist and they were like, oh God, get her as far away from this spot as we can, right? And so that complicated everything because the mission went from get the job done to get the civilian out of here.
Right. They don't know what they're doing.
It'll cost more hours and more manpower.
Yeah.
How dare he say that that a newsroom is like the military or the police or the fine people at the FDNY down the street? How dare you? You write and you talk. You are not putting your... Oh, that is absolutely insane.
Marv,
I run a newsroom and I have never felt like me or my people are in danger at any
Marv,
point in time.
Marv, how many times have you told me the studio lights are very bright,
They are.
and if you touch them, you may get a gentle first-degree burn? You've said that to me. You have said that to me, Marv.
I have.
I have to end up for Scott. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I know some journalists really want to get like that on the ground, boots on the ground footage, because it adds authenticity to the story. Which I know when in an age when we're kind of like, oh, everything's AI'd or whatever, they think doing that is going to help them. But again, we're in an age of technology. We're making stuff up all the time. Like every time I see somebody send me something being like, look at this footage, I'm like, now I'm scrutinizing it to see if it was like either made by AI or affected by AI or anything. Like I can't trust anything. So.
Yeah, we can't. You just can't. I think we've reached the point now where everything. I'm skeptical the first time, every single time until it's verified. All right, there's more. Yes.
Well, from what I heard, he stood up and interrupted a meeting with new management to yell at new management.
That's right.
Name me a job on this planet where you keep your job after you do that.
Well, he not only yelled at new management, he told them that they were not qualified to be his new management.
Jerry Springer.
Yeah. Here's Scott Pelley, more of this interview, and it might actually get worse.
I've never worn the uniform, but I've been in combat for this country. In Afghanistan and Iraq, Kuwait, been shot at, spent nights in foxholes filling up with water in the desert. I'm not aware that the President of the United States has ever done any of those things for...
The President of the United States was shot.
What? Literally took a bullet.
Like that, the one part where you made the comment about how people getting into the stadium were upset because of like all the security features. It's not like there's a leader in there that's been almost assassinated 3 times.
And so, I mean, this guy.
Kara, what are they in the foxholes? Are they in the combat? Like what? Like there's no way what he's saying is accurate.
I would not let them do that. I really would. If they're there. So here's the thing, and I just want to paint this picture, right? So when I joined the military, I volunteered to do it, right? He's complaining about like he went to war and he did all these things. Hey, guess what? He volunteered to do it too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I just think this is narcissism unleashed, and this interview has had the opposite effect.
I mean, I'll turn on my psychopath hat for a minute. This is a moral positioning, because what he's trying to do is he's trying to elevate himself where what he's saying is the authority and what's going on. And he thinks that by talking about these experiences that he's gone through, it's going to elevate people to, or not elevate, but to basically have people enamored to him and want to listen to him and the message that he's about to paint in this interview. That's what he's doing. As nothing, that's it.
What's amazing is he lacks the self-awareness to understand that he's proving Barry Weiss made the right decision. Mm-hmm. He had to be fired. He has no self-awareness. He has no recognition of his boundaries or where he stands. He has main player syndrome, like to the highest degree possible. And that's the kind of person you cannot be in a newsroom, because he's inserting himself into every story.
And I'll just have to say, he is the exact kind of attitude that we see from most of these newsrooms at these large corporations, at these large media companies. They think that they are doing the Lord's work when they mock one side and act like they all of a sudden are journalists when there's a conservative getting anywhere close to power, and they turn it all off and roll out the red carpet whenever a progressive or a liberal starts to get near power. This is the thing, and I don't know if we'll get to the clip of him talking about how we looked at they said we were biased, and we looked at what we did, and we said no, we're not. So
right. Well, he demanded
is wrong.
Yeah, we're not going to play that clip, but Jonas, it's important to mention it. What started him off yelling, although I think he had pre-planned to do this, yelling at management in front of everybody and telling them they were not qualified, is when they opened up the meeting and said, we have a problem. The American people view us as biased. Why do you think that is? And he said, show me your research. Show me your market analysis. Why do you say this? We're not, So
I'm going to say
kicked it off.
I have something a little crazy to say, and I'm not trying to sound insultive or anything, but the way he's presenting himself and the way he's presenting how journalists do all this stuff, it kind of feels like he's taking away the valor in a way of actual soldiers, actual police and fire departments, and he's like stolen valoring it in a way, going, we're just as oppressed as these people who go out and do the volunteer work that we volunteer for. Danger. Yeah, like
I want him to go to a military meetup group and spit this nonsense at them. That's what I want. Show me you got some cojones, my man. Go do it to the people who do this too.
Go to a vet meeting where vets with missing limbs and stuff and tell your story there. Let's see what happens.
There are so many journalist amputees, though, Stephen.
He just needs to show footage of the wounded journalists support groups that are in every nation. Nation in the world.
Now, I will say, there are nations where it would be dangerous to be a journalist. I would not want to be a fair-minded journalist trying to report objective news, behind the lines at North Korea. But this guy,
China.
Yeah, this guy is not in such a position. A little bit more of him, and then I want to show you a deeper look into how this whole game works.
This country, please correct me if I'm wrong. You become a journalist because you love the First Amendment. You become a journalist because you love the country. And while all the other descriptions that the president used about me might be applicable, not that one.
Which one?
Not that one.
That he's never served.
Lord, the melodrama.
There is no democracy without journalism.
There's also no democracy if it's all corrupt journalism. And that's the problem here.
There's no masculinity without balls, and he has none.
Go ahead, Marv.
Just, like everything that he's saying is just melodrama. It is, what? Like, let's even look at the fact that people were booing the president. If we live in this dystopia, the way how do you think it would have gone if a group full of people booed Kim Jong-un in North Korea? How do you even think it would go if they booed Vladimir Putin in Russia? They would not have been able to walk out and burn the city down after that. No, there would have been action taken. Like, that is the most insane thing. We are not a country that's jailing journalists or making journalists disappear. Journalists are allowed to say whatever they want, but also the editor-in-chief of CBS News is allowed to create the newsroom that she wants. And honestly, when it comes to CBS News, the only way Barry Weiss is going to get anywhere is to fire all of them and rebuild it from the ground up.
And we've said she has to. I mean, this was inevitable. We've said this was inevitable. She always had to do the Twitter thing because they were going to force her hand. She has to clean house. All right, let me show you how the game works, though. I want to go back in time a little bit. This is a report back in 2008, I believe, when Hillary Clinton made the same sort of statements. And get ready because someone's going to spill the beans on this.
Hillary Clinton has long been touting her experience, but questions are being raised now about whether she's done some embellishing of her record. Here's investigative correspondent Cheryl Atkins.
It was supposed to be an example of Hillary Clinton's battle-tested experience.
I remember landing under sniper fire.
In the speech last week, Senator Clinton was referring to her visit to Tuzla, Bosnia in 1996 as First Lady. The brutal war was over, but hostilities continued. And though the trip was exactly 12 years ago tomorrow, the memories seemed etched in Clinton's mind.
There was supposed to be some kind of a greeting ceremony at the airport, but instead we just ran with our heads down to get into the vehicles to get to our base.
Problem is, that's not what happened. And we should know, CBS News accompanied the First Lady and daughter Chelsea on that Bosnia trip. That's Senator Clinton talking to me on the military flight into Tuzla. And these are the pictures we recorded of the greeting ceremony when the plane landed. Compare that to Senator Clinton's account.
I remember.
All right. So, and if we go to this, Cheryl Atkinson, she's talking about Scott Pelley. She says, I feel like Forrest Gump, but I was also on the flight in Bosnia when Hillary Clinton claimed we landed under sniper fire. We didn't. She didn't. The reporting I did on this for CBS Evening News led the broadcast 2 nights in a row. And she's talking about this because she's responding to Scott Pelley. I was officially on 2 combat missions with the USAF. On one sortie, the guys fired cruise missiles and we took ground fire. They, the airmen, were in combat. I was not. I was a reporter embedded to report what they were doing. It's not the same thing, in my opinion. This is her hitting back on Scott Pelley.
So here's a thing, just to drop the spy. If you're going to a location and there's reports of sniper fire, do you know what happens to the plane?
Diverted.
It doesn't land.
Yeah. Right.
Especially a plane that has the First Lady of the United States aboard.
Well, what happens if there were attack helicopters with snipers in them above her plane? And that's what she was going with.
She's acting like they landed in sniper fire, like there were reports of a rainstorm in the area. Like,
Hillary,
just put your head down and get to the car, Mrs. Clinton.
Holding up now.
So this is what these journalists and corrupt politicians do. They steal the valor by claiming they have experienced the same things. So see, Carol, this is the way they play the game. They don't have to serve, but they get to serve.
I'm trying
even if the trauma never happened.
Oh,
that's how the game is played.
Yeah, I understand. It's vexing all around. There was a comment Steve made about stolen valor, and that's kind of what this really seems like. And if you want to make people who've gone through this upset, that's the fastest way to do it. But for what it's worth, nobody in the military that I know, is very fond of Lady Clinton, just because, she's a little shady. So
a little shady. Yeah. Jonas, I'll give you the final word on this. Pelley going to the New York Times. This was supposed to be a hit job on Barry Weiss. I think it was pre-planned. I think he wanted to be fired. I think he wanted to be a martyr. I think that's what Jimmy Kimmel is also planning. And instead, the narcissism broke free at a pathological level. And now nobody, right or left, thinks this guy should be in charge of any newsroom. It's obvious that this guy is out of control.
We've had reports from people who are very close with the 60 Minutes leadership. And this is the way that they act at family gatherings about their job. I get it. You should take pride in your work. But this to me it's like Ron Burgundy, but not funny.
That's a great line.
It's just silliness. And he's going to be so funny when he gets really old because he's already got that underbite going. He's going to look like a Muppet when he really gets up there in years, and he's just going to be talking about his times there in the 60 Minutes foxhole.
Jonas, are you making fun of people who have lost their dentures?
No, I'm making fun of Scott Pelley because I think that he is a preening narcissist. And there are very few people, like, I try not to make fun of people for personal things about them that they can't help. But this one here, it seems like he's gone way too long without being taken down a peg or two. I think that he cannot comprehend that someone would look at him and say, you're really bad at your job, and we would prefer if you left. Thank you for shining the spotlight on 60 Minutes. This will actually help the ratings. And you've done your job. Go away now. Bye.
After his performance, I don't even think he can hold a hammer for me while renovating my house.
I think Barry Weiss should give him a high five for this interview. I think he did a huge service to 60 Minutes and to her leadership.
I think he should get a job in Hollywood because that's like some of the best acting I've seen.
He should do a podcast with Stephen Colbert.
Now that is a marriage made in not heaven.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't surprise me if he tries to go and do his own thing like Tucker Carlson did. That might be what this ploy's all about.
I don't think it's going to go well. I don't think that's a great idea for Scott Pelley, but you never know. Have at it, Scott. Give us some more narcissism. I'm sure there's a real dearth of that on the internet. Parting is such sweet sorrow, ladies and gentlemen. It's only made sweet because there's more content on the way. We never stop. It drives the Holly Weirds mad, but we've got decades left in the can, and we keep going and going and going. Oh, wait. Are we showing our cards? That's right. We'll never stop going near and far and sending out the content you love. Folks, you can help us continue to do just that. Smash that like button. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. And until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.